What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be looking at Pokemon that got buffed this season but are still one move away from being meta. Now, this idea was, of course, inspired by Yonk's videos. He does very similar videos to this. But what I want to take a look at today were Pokemon that actually did get buffed this season, but it just wasn't quite enough for them to actually reach top meta status. And I think you can already tell who we're going to start off with. Of course, I am only going through moves that these Pokemon can actually learn in the main series games, so I do have that limitation, but that's the rule for Pokemon Go, so that's the rule we're going to follow here. Starting off strong, we've got Snowy Castform. Now, Snowy Castform got the Powder Snow buff. Powder Snow going from 5 to 6 power this season, becoming a Shadow Claw or Pet clone. I've decided to add Scald, and I've ended up replacing Blizzard to give this Pokemon some much needed coverage. It only had Ice-type charge moves, so having no coverage for this Pokemon isn't great. However, giving it a little bit of water coverage here with Scald, which is a decent move, but doesn't see all that much play in recent seasons. That said, it goes from a record of 23 and 28 with an average of 466, which isn't really bad for this Pokemon at all, but up to a battle rating average of 507 and a 25 and 26 win-loss ratio there. I'm not trying to make these Pokemon broken, I'm just trying to push them into the meta, and that is what we've opted for here. Taking a look at the next Pokemon, we're going to look at Decidueye. Now, Decidueye currently runs Leafage, Frenzy Plant, and Spirit Shackle, which is a pretty decent moveset for this Pokemon, but it does have access to Shadow Sneak, and Shadow Sneak did receive a buff this season, going from, what was it? I don't even remember what it was, but it is now 50 energy for 75 damage, but it becomes 90 damage because Decidueye is half ghost, so it does get that same type attack bonus boost there. And I've actually opted to drop Frenzy Plant entirely, and the new move we're adding to this Pokemon is Leaf Blade. So now it's running Leafage, Leaf Blade, and Shadow Sneak as more of a nuke coverage move. And look at this Pokemon go. It goes from a battle rating average of 449 with a 22 wins and 29 loss record to a 496 average with a 25 and 26. So once again, just middle of the pack, a decent Pokemon that you could run. And this is honestly, I feel like a more side grade moveset. Just opting for Leaf Blade instead of Frenzy Plant and Shadow Sneak instead of Spirit Shackle. Very similar, but it's kind of switching those around, and it actually makes the Pokemon slightly better. The next Pokemon I'm going to take a look at is XL Scraggy. So Scraggy is the pre-evolution of Scrafty, and has never really received the love that Scrafty has. It did, of course, get Upper Hand when Scrafty got that as well, which is really nice because it does have Upper Hand and Foul Play, and Foul Play is the charge move that did get buffed this season, gaining 5 extra damage. Feint Attack, however, is a pretty bad move, and it's the only fast move that Scraggy can really run. And because we just got our first non-stab Incinerate user this season in Gourgeist, I decided that would be interesting on Scraggy as well. So now we're going from Feint Attack, Upper Hand, and Foul Play to Incinerate, Upper Hand, and Foul Play, which also gives it a little bit of coverage into Fairy-type Pokemon, which is nice. It can hit neutral there. And of course, it does have a record of a battle average rating of 389 with a record of 15 wins and 36 losses, going to 26 wins and 25 losses and a battle rating average of 510. So this Pokemon would be incredibly strong with Incinerate. There were a couple other options I looked at. I looked at Dragon Tail as well, which looked like it could work as well. Of course, that doesn't give you any fairy coverage, so maybe that's more balanced, but it wasn't as good as Incinerate, so why not throw Incinerate on this Pokemon? Scrafty also learns Incinerate, so if you want to just throw Incinerate on a Scrafty instead of XL Scraggy, not forcing people to run the XL Pokemon, that's fine too. The next Pokemon we're going to take a look at is Kangaskhan. Now, Kangaskhan already has a pretty solid moveset, but it does struggle with the fact that none of it is stab. That said, it has decent bulk. It's got a pretty good fast move in Mud Slap, and even Brick Break is nice because it lowers the opponent's defense, which means Mud Slaps will add up more. And Brick Break actually received a buff this season, going from 40 to 50 damage, doing 10 more damage this season. and its nuke move or coverage move is Crunch in this situation. I've decided to opt for Rock Tomb. Now, Rock Tomb does, of course, give it that flyer coverage that it struggles with, and we know that ground plus rock coverage is really, really nice into everything not named Toadstool or Torterra. That said, Kangaskhan, with its current moveset, goes 19 and 32 with a battle rating average of 455, but with Rock Tomb, it goes up to 483 battle rating average and a win-loss record of 27 and 24. This Pokemon would be quite a bit stronger, but also still not top meta. The next Pokemon we're going to take a look at is Clang. Now, Clang also got buffed this season with Vice Grip, going from 40 damage to 70 damage, which means it actually becomes an Aqua Jet or like a Sludge clone. And it already has a great fast move in Metal Sound, does get stabbed there as well, so I've gone ahead and replaced its electric coverage with a harder hitting nuke in Wild Charge. And with that Vice Grip bait, this Pokemon actually looks super, super strong. Its current win-loss and rating is not all that bad. It has a battle rating average of 469 with a win-loss of 24 and 27, but now with Wild Charge, this thing goes absolutely crazy with a win-loss record of 32 and 19 and a battle rating average of 502. Yes, this would be more of a bait-dependent Pokemon, so it wouldn't play as good as it sims here. Those win-losses wouldn't be exactly correct, but it would be an improvement over Thunderbolt. The next Pokemon we're going to take a look at got buffed this season as well, and that is Hisuian Samurott. So Hisuian Samurott got access to a great coverage move this season in Sacred Sword. With that coverage move, it actually replaces its only stab coverage in Dark Pulse. So in order to return some stab coverage to this Pokemon with two fairly cheap charge moves, I've actually opted for Sucker Punch, a harder hitting yet still pretty quick charging fast move. Hisuian Samurott actually has a pretty decent average right now of 495 with a win-loss of 24 and 26. But with Sacred Sword, Icy Wind, and Sucker Punch, this Pokemon is absolutely ridiculous. It goes 29 and 22 with an average rating of 536. And I don't think this is all that busted because this is an extremely glassy Pokemon, so giving it an absolutely cracked moveset is kind of what they need to do. And I think that would put it into top meta status, currently at 253, so needs all the love it can get. The next Pokemon we're going to take a look at is Aerodactyl. Now, this season, Aerodactyl got access to Dragon Breath. Dragon Breath is, of course, a great fast move that generates energy really quickly and is a pretty neutral offensive typing. Unfortunately, it currently struggles with two charge moves that are more on the expensive side, which doesn't work for such a glassy Pokemon. Giving it Stab Air Cutter, where it can boost its attack and do more damage with Dragon Breaths, really elevates this Pokemon. So currently, the Shadow Aerodactyl has a battle rating average of 333 with 10 wins and 41 losses against the meta. But as soon as you give this thing Air Cutter instead of Earth Power, look at these wins going 24 and 27 with an average rating of 487. You still can't hit steals even for neutral damage, but at least you're doing okay into a bunch of other matchups. And this actually looks like a very average Pokemon, which is kind of surprising considering how bad it looks in the current meta right now, even with Dragon Breath. The final Pokemon we're going to take a look at is, of course, Lucario. Lucario got access to the newly buffed Meteor Mash this season, but it's still not even opting for it in the rankings. And that is just because Fighting plus Ghost coverage is nearly unwallable by anything not named Hisuian Zoroark. Instead of dropping that coverage, I've actually given Lucario Shadow Claw. Not only does this improve its pacing, but it allows it to run Aura Sphere plus Meteor Mash, which are both fantastic stab charge moves. So going from Forest Palm, Aura Sphere, and Shadow Ball to Shadow Claw, Aura Sphere, and Meteor Mash, and suddenly you go from a battle rating average of 449 with a win-loss of 20 and 31 to a battle rating average of 477 and a win-loss of 24 and 27. So still not top meta, but an improvement, and that's what we like to see. Just putting more Pokemon into the pool of usable Pokemon in the meta, especially those glassy Pokemon which don't see as much love. But yeah, those are a bunch of Pokemon that are now one move away from becoming at least a meta option in the Great League that did get buffed this season. I do want to say thank you to the expert trainer members on this channel: Benny Hemlock, Dr. Mustache, Eliana, Perry G, Blue Nation, Peter Washworth, Chompus Clip, Sons of Code, Soma Patil, and Immortal Bart, as well as an extra special thank you to the Legend Trainer members on this channel: Andrew Pitten, Musaju, Speedster, Estros, Fast Eddie Boss, CD Slaskus, and Star Bonsai. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace!